Alright, recording. Hi there, my bass angling community. This will be my first official YouTube video. I guess relating to bass fishing. So the topic that we're going to go about today is on Clearwater Creek bass fishing. The bass in particular will be largemouths. One thing that I've learned about largemouth bass in Clearwater creeks is that they don't necessarily like too turbulent of a current. They like a little bit of current with a little bit of oxygen, but most of the time, if it's really strong, they'll try to avoid it at best. So I've caught fish on a variety of lures, anywhere from jerkbaits, Senkos, flick shake worms, small 3-inch swim baits, micro crankbaits, micro jerkbaits, etc., etc., etc. I can go on forever. The only thing I haven't been able to catch them on is a damn frog, topwater frog. But just about anything I've pretty much slammed them on. So here's a little something I want to talk about right now. When you're fishing these creeks, one thing that's always a concern is dealing with what kind of lures to throw. Oftentimes people would think a creek would usually just hold a bunch of small forage, and that's true for the most part. These creeks that I usually fish, there's a lot of tiny bait fish like mosquito fish or smaller green sunfish, smaller bluegills, maybe even small bass, and that's what all the bass usually target in on, the larger ones anyways. They usually go for anything that meets the eye and is an opportunity for a forage based chance. So oftentimes, or at least I should say initially, when I started these creek adventures, I would throw small lures. Like you see this tiny Ika here, that produced pretty well. Small swim baits like 3-inch ones, mini jigs, etc. But I would often always just catch small fish. I mean small fish, like 4 or 5-inch bass. Occasionally you'll stick an 8-incher and that'll give your drag a little bit of a pull on 2-pound tests. It's pretty kick-ass. But when I thought about it a little bit more, I came to a realization that you usually need to throw a bigger lure to get the bigger fish. You'll still stick small fish, but the point I'm trying to get on is there's a little bit of a energy expenditure theory. I guess I can probably define that. There's probably an exact name for it. I can't think of it right now. But the bottom line is bass, largemouths, in a creek system with current, they don't like to move. So they tend to move as little as they can and eat as much as they can. So they use the least amount of energy expended to gain the most amount of energy. To explain my point here. Right here you have a tiny Ika, alright? Let's say a bass saw that as a little tiny mosquito fish. If they're going to charge out about 5 feet away to grab this mosquito fish, that's probably going to burn more energy trying to pursue this mosquito fish than it is actually gaining any energy from eating it. Now let's take this here X-Zone wacky leech, alright? It's a little bit bigger. Usually that's going to ignite a little more bites. You probably won't hook the bass, but that's, your bite ratio increases. So that's a little topic to think about. Lures that I've been trying out, but I haven't necessarily had success with, would be like these T-Mac net bait worms. This is a little idea I thought of. You have a little chatterbait right here, a Z-Man, with a little worm. Don't do this, doesn't really work. But it creates a vibration on top, and it has a really slow-moving worm. It's just an idea. I haven't really been able to try it enough, but it might work. But I've been throwing a lot of bigger baits, like 6-inch worms. I don't really have one out here, but this is like a 7-inch. And I would wacky rig it and shred it on the surface, or I would pop it, let the lure sink to the bottom, and that usually triggers a reaction bite. So this pretty much goes back to my point about fish expending the least amount of energy to gain the most amount of energy. Just think of it like people. If you have a cheeseburger that is on your table, that's only like 2 feet away from you, versus maybe a piece of candy that's like 10 feet away from you, which one would you go for first? If it were me, I'd go for that cheeseburger. Get the most amount of energy with the least amount of energy expended. That's just thinking smart. Fish will do the exact same thing. They wouldn't go out of their comfort zone pursuing something really tiny by expending a ridiculous amount of energy. They'd rather go for a big, large, easy meal using the least amount of energy. So I probably went on a ridiculous tangent here, but that's the point for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys use it and improve your fishing skills. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.